Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from SegaCDUniverse.com. I apologize if you hear a slight humming noise. I have the air conditioner on, so that's what that is. It's right next to me. Anyway, this is a video response to a YouTuber I've been watching for a little while now. His name is Benzo8686. I'm going to put his link down in the description. Check him out. He had done a video called, I think it was like Memorable RPGs of the 90s, and he chose one game, and he just talked about how he found it and why he liked it and stuff. That game he chose was Lunar the Silver Star. It's funny, I did a video a while back about how I played Lunar initially on the Sega CD, as my name is Sega CD Universe, obviously. I have all the games, and I love all the Sega CD titles. He said he heard a lot of bad things about the Sega CD, with all the FMV games, which I love, so really to each their own, but he didn't know they had RPGs and stuff like that on there. So he said his brother had purchased him Lunar the Silver Star, and he played it, and he loved it, and it's still one of his favorites. I recently, or sort of recently, had beat the PSP version, but I had started it on the Sega CD and played it, up to some point, maybe the middle or a quarter through, on the PS1 version. So it took all these years, and I finally eventually beat the game, but a different rendition of it. So anyhow, he had spoken about that, and he had asked to get video responses of some people's favorite RPGs from the 90s. So my favorite RPG one of my favorite RPGs that most people don't really talk about too much, but it has a good underground cult following type of thing, is the Suikoden series. I think what happened was I lived in the Bronx, and I had rented, we rented games all the time for anything, whatever, and we stopped in and I saw the cover, and I wanted an RPG, but I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into. If you look at the front of the Suikoden game, the first one, it's like this fantasy kind of weird setting. It almost looks like something that is on those Romance of the Kingdom types games. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, is this going to be like some fucked up micromanagement strategy game I'm not going to like, or is it like a strict RPG? So I'm like, I don't know. So we rented it, and it's one of those times where you're on the fence and you rent something and you completely love it. So I totally loved the game, was so into it. I found out years later you can actually save this character in the game who dies at the beginning, and if his name's Pan, P-A-H-N, spoilers from a fucking 20-year-old game, and well, not 20, but whatever. And if you save him and then you get the rest of the characters in the game, there's a guy who I'm not going to say, who dies at the end to save you. He gets resurrected if you get all the characters. They all use their powers or whatever and resurrect them. So the game looks kind of old-fashioned, which is what I really like about it as well. It looks almost like a Super Nintendo or a Genesis title. The battles, the top-down kind of little view of the characters, some of the art and music and stuff you can tell is like is an upgrade to what they could have done at that point on a Super Nintendo or a Sega Genesis, or what you would have found then. So the main point of the story is, and some people don't know this, it's actually based loosely on this mythology that there were these demons that came to, I guess it was China, and these 108 stars, or people, but they were all like special abilities and stuff, gathered from the land to come together and fight these demons. Each of them had these different things they could bring to the table. So you have to collect the 108 stars, and each of the characters in the game you find different ways. Some of them are story related that you have to take, and then some of them you don't have to take, but again, it's half the fun is finding all these fucking characters, these different personalities. And you start off like a small castle, like a rundown castle, and then you build it up with all these characters, and they start opening shops. They all have like different quirks and personalities, and they can do different things. It's almost like a mini game, because while you're talking to all these people, some of them open stores, some of them are fortune tellers, some of them have hot tubs, some of them have oh, it's been so long, I think like you can trade stuff to them. They all have like different weird things they do, and like each of the things they do you can also use, maybe not directly in your party to fight, but for other things. So it's like got so many different layers of what you can do between the actual fighting, which is like turn-based, walking around in the world looking for things. Then you have all these different things in your castle, the people that do different things, and then there's like these battles you can do, which, if I remember correctly, are army versus army, and if anyone dies in the game, they die. That's it. You can't get them back, which is kind of rough. So that means you really have to do well. And it's like army versus army. You can like all your characters have different like stats. It's really great. And then later on in the series, they added, I believe, boats, if I remember correctly. Like you can take your boats and fight different people's boats, like ships. So that was really cool. I think that they did that, if I remember correctly. I think they did. I think it was like 3 or 4. I stopped after the 4th game. I got to the last boss in number 4, and I got really stuck at the last boss, and I wasn't having fun. And I ended up getting so angry, I just shut it off and stopped. But the first game was just, wow, it was great. And then in the second game, if you load your save from the first game, you're able to find this little weird village, and you can recruit the character from the first game and see some of the characters that you saved. These characters, I don't want to say their name. I said Pan, the other guy too, who dies. And you can see them in the second game. So it was kind of like a cool feeling, because you get these, at least I got, well, let me go back and say, I've always loved in games when there's a ton of characters, or when you can collect and do a lot with different characters. So I really love that there's these 108 characters, and it was based on this like mythology, and that each of the characters had different specialties and stuff. And I got almost felt like a relationship with these people. You know, you talk to them, and you start like growing up in the game, because you start kind of like a teenager, and you feel close to these characters and their stories. And then in the second game, when they're back, or you can recruit the main guy and you can see some of the other ones, it almost feels like you're seeing old friends again. So the Suikoden series is great. I eventually sold most of my PlayStation 1 games, and those games now, I mean, the first game's only like 20 bucks, I think, without a case and stuff, probably more like 30 if you want like a complete one. But the second game is like $200. I mean, it's a great game, it's phenomenal. They started dipping off for me after 3. I enjoyed the 3. 3 went to like a 3D rendition of it, and I liked it, but not as much as 1 or 2. Then, as I said, 4 kind of went downhill for me there. I was kind of just playing it to play it at that point. But definitely check out the Suikoden series. It's got great music, great storyline. It's about like you trying to, you're like this rebel group that tries to fight this like government regime that's come in. From what I remember, it's been a long time, and the best part is collecting all these characters and building up your castle and talking to all these personalities. It's just a great game. I mean, it's long. From what I remember, it's a pretty long game, and if you like old-fashioned RPGs, check it out. It's fucking awesome. So, thanks guys for watching, and Benzo8686, thank you for putting out a great video and asking the community question. I'm gonna keep watching. Be good, guys. It's Vampire Mike from SegaCDUniverse.com. Take care.